Hello, everybody, and welcome to an installment of Mercury Retrograde in Libra. So, we're going to be entering a new Mercury Retrograde phase starting tomorrow night, and this retrograde phase is going to be powerful in the sense that it is going to make us relearn how to communicate with other people. And I'm saying it that literal. And the reason why I am is because if y'all been following me, I mentioned during the Great Conjunction at the end of last year that we're now entering a year of these air cycles, right? Every Mercury retrograde has been coming up, and it has happened thus far for the since that's happened, has been in air elements only, right? So last time it was Mercury and Gemini that went retrograde. And when Mercury and Gemini went retrograde, we relearned how to just speak our truth and communicate our truth. Whereas when Mercury goes into Libra, we are relearning how to just communicate with other people as the people that they are, right? Not necessarily taking what they've made for themselves, more so just seeing them as a soul, as a actual being in comparison to just trying to project or try to figure them out from a level of, oh, these are their character traits. This is this personality of this person. This is X, Y, and Z. I think what Mercury and Libra is really challenging us to do as it goes retrograde is to reinvigorate and to get a little bit more dug into the premise and the process of just speaking your truth to others that are willing to accept their truth as well. And Mercury and Libra is going to start to show you the people in your life who are really willing to go half with you, or willing to at least bring the balance to your life with you in comparison to you maybe doing all the work, or just something being completely one-ended and such like that. And it's not like things have to be like tit for tat every 5 minutes or something along the lines of that, but is that person willing to go the extra mile for you the same way that you may be willing to go for them, right? Are you just willing to be in the presence of this person without necessarily also wanting something out of a person, right? I think the reason why this is reframing relationships and such like that, and just the way that we get along on a day-to-day basis, is within the last year specifically, especially I think because everyone had to be inside for so long, for a lot of people, and shouts out to a lot of y'all, because a lot of y'all were around and taking the classes that I was doing and etc. during this time frame, and learned a whole lot about spirituality and spirit like you may not have before, because you had the time to really delve in and do that, right? Now on the flip end, a bunch of other people did no work during this time frame, right? Like no work, no interpersonal work. And maybe they did a little bit when it first started, but it was at that point, they may have not dug as deep as maybe you have who's watching this live stream, or maybe someone else that you know who went through a different experience that has brought them into a deeper understanding of their spiritual self, whether that be through astrology, whether that be through just like a day-to-day life of just living the best that you can day by day, whatever means that ends up becoming, right? What I think this Mercury and Libra is really trying to do is reveal to you that the people that are supposed to be closest to you know how to communicate with you, because their communications and their actions are just and true. Libra is a card of justice, right? So when people don't know how to, not necessarily go like once more, it's not necessarily going half and half, but it's just like if someone goes the whole mile for you and you were both in communication, it's like, oh, I'm gonna go through the whole mile, right? You get what I'm saying? But they only go halfway, or they only go a little bit. You're like, wait, I thought you were going with me this whole way, so to speak, right? This is the reframing where it's like, okay, who's really willing to be down with me, and who are you also willing to be really down for as well? Because it goes both ways. And this Mercury and Libra is going to show you on both ends where is that. My big suggestion for this Mercury and Libra retrograde, first of all, is to slow down. Slow down, and I don't mean to stop. When I say slow down, I don't mean stop doing what you're doing. That means stop the rush, stop the angst that goes about where you're trying to do what you're doing. You know what I mean? I think we live such busy lives that essentially it's like, okay, all right, one action's done. Okay, now it's time the next thing. Like, okay, I got this one thing done off the itinerary. Like, what's next? Like, nah, like, what would happen if you do the things off your itinerary, but you just took time to, like, be around the people that you want to, like, build, or be around the people that you want to garner better relationships with? You get what I'm saying? Mercury in Libra retrograde also speaks to, like, old situations that might be business related that might be coming back as well, where it's like, hey, maybe last time we didn't understand the worth or the value, but this time now we do. Or hey, maybe beforehand we didn't understand where your mind was at when it came to this thing, but now we see what's going on. You get what I'm saying? That's what these slowdowns during this Mercury and Libra time frame is really critical for. You know what I'm saying? Someone said they took my classes, then they were great. Thank you so much. I will be having a new moon class coming up for the 6th, or not the 6th. This new moon's on the 6th, but I'll be having a new moon class coming up. Be on the lookout. I'll be posting it on the stories and making a post about it. So definitely be sure to go to the new moon classes. I'm going to be doing a new moon and full moons, every new moon and full moon on the day of the new moon and full moon. Just so it's like really happening. For y'all who went to the full moon class last time for the Pisces one, we was having a great time. Sidebar, I know I've been getting really into this Mercury retrograde and Libra stuff thus far, but what I do want to mention is that for any of y'all in here who want to get a reading with me or a consultation with me, I just finished up my readings and consultations this week, and I'm now free. So if you want to go ahead and schedule, I have all of my readings and listings that are currently on my website available. They're still at the ticketed price that I had beforehand. I just kept that on there for a little bit just to let y'all like take advantage of this price that I have right now. And we have scheduled times. And all the times that I put are like, they're going to run longer because I just be talking. And they're all going to be a live stream. So it's going to be us having an actual conversation, an actual consultation towards your chart, an actual, hey, what's going on in your life? Let's pull some tarot cards about it, pull up your chart with it, and let's see what we can actually do to figure out the problems at hand or just the energies that are going on at hand. So please make sure that you end up signing up for a consultation, and or tell a friend about the consultation, tell some family member, tell anybody along the lines of that. I want to start working with people. I know a lot of my readings beforehand were recorded, and a big part of that was kind of just me making sure that I understood what I was doing, even if I saw no face. There was no face, no information about the person. Like, just tell me the chart. And I did hundreds of those readings with no face, no information about the person behind him, and they've all definitely hit based off the reviews that I've gotten and based off the love that y'all been showing me, and etc. So I really do appreciate y'all in the community that does support me, because I love y'all and I want to support y'all just as much, you know. But the idea behind this too, right, is that it's like, cool, now that you know these integral parts of yourself, you're able to keep moving forward. And that's what my work is about. I don't know what every other astrologer wants to do when it comes to their services and etc. But what I really want to start doing, at least for the next time frame, is working directly with people in consultation to let you know your astrology, and then afterward open up so there's questions if you want to ask me, and I can easily pinpoint how can you practically do certain things in your life to make that happen. That is part of my power as an astrologer, and I want to start utilizing that in real time. Sidebar, back out in LA, so if anybody in LA want to do like a meetup reading, etc., feel free to DM me, link me, I'll figure something out, and we can figure out a spot to link up. And I'm doing an in-person reading. Shouts out to Dre Speaks. He was my first in-person reading since I've been back out here. Shouts out to that. That was over at the beach. It was super fire. Much love to my people. It was really dope to meet Soul Fam in real life as well. So like I said, if y'all in the LA area, etc., please be sure to let me know when it comes to that. But let's get back into this Mercury retrograde in Libra. My fault, you know, sometimes I started going in at first, so I'm like, let me talk a little bit. But for all my readings and services, it's chadthemaverick.com. I repeat, it's chadthemaverick.com. If you don't want to spell that, because that's a lot of work, just hit the link in the bio, it'll take you straight there. Now, Mercury retrograde in Libra. Let's get a couple of the dates going. Mind you, I haven't necessarily dug into this transit super crazy because I want to be able to actually like streamline to you what I'm feeling based off of this as well, and then give you the details behind that, because I feel like that's how my interpretations are best understood by other people who are also watching. So shouts out to y'all. But let's get into this right now. So for this retrograde that is happening, Mercury goes retrograde. I'm using PST right now. So anyone who's trying to figure out the time frames I'm using LA time, so I'm using Pacific time. But Mercury goes retrograde tomorrow night at 10:10 p.m., right? So from September 26th, while the moon is in Gemini, it's also going retrograde, which I think is very important because it is going to be a communicative Mercury retrograde in Libra. And because while Mercury goes retrograde, Mars is also on the sun, this is going to speak to a lot of social energy bubbling within people, but also not necessarily saying the right things in the right manner to blend with another person. It's almost like with this Mercury retrograde in Libra, if you say something that's not actually you in reference to trying to like prove something to somebody else, is going to backfire. So if it's like, if you don't like the color orange and you're messing and you're chilling with someone and they're like, oh, I love the color orange, and you're like, I like the color orange too, right? They're not going to actually receive you almost past that point, because it's not a matter of like them necessarily being like, hey, that person lied about the favorite color. It's the inauthenticity. And I don't like the word authentic anymore, and I kind of want to get it out my vocab. I had to for the other parts, but I really just don't want to use that word because it's so charged and people got real like happy with it. Not the point. But what I'm saying is, right, whatever isn't true to you isn't going to register with anyone else. So if you're like, oh yeah, you know, like I definitely love basketball and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, cool. So what you think about the finals game? And you don't have nothing to say. That's going to backfire and send you way back further. Not just in that conversation, because you're also going to be doing yourself an injustice. And the reason why this Mercury retrograde is so important is because it's like, how are you going to be bringing peace to self? How are you going to be able to also get through and break through conflicts that are going to arise as well? Because there are going to be some conflicts that might happen throughout this transit of people that want to claim who you are without them understanding the background of who you might be. You get what I'm saying? So definitely be on the lookout for that. And don't let yourself get outside of yourself to prove something to somebody else. You get what I'm saying? For example, I'm using myself as an example. Growing up and such like that, I grew up in New England. I'm a black kid in a very white area, etc. I had to go to the schools where it was like the different private schools and such like that. So a lot of the times in my personal life, it was like, hey man, you don't act like the people on TV all the time. So obviously you're not that. And at a super young age, you start to like do things to be like, oh no, like, let me fit in with this. Let me blah, 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 right? But I shit you not. All those problems with personal identity that I may have had super young, or all those problems that like I couldn't really figure out, as soon as I started just truly identifying and being like, yo, that's me, all that other BS dissipated, right? Like all that other like weird stuff that started popping up dissipated. Why? Because I chose to be myself. And this is an Aries rising speaking, and this is like the way that I help to tap in for y'all. But it's like that type of energy and that sticking up for yourself is going to serve you super well throughout this Mercury retrograde. Now, here's the thing though. If your ass is wrong, admit your ass is wrong. I'm going to say this one more time. If your ass is wrong, admit your ass is wrong. It's not a matter of being right and wrong. It's a matter of who's willing to grow from whatever might stem or whatever might come up. Mercury retrograde is very known for people to not necessarily fully communicate. But what this Mercury retrograde in Libra specifically is about is how are you going to find somebody else who's going to be able to work with you even when you can't say the right words. Because those are the people that you need to stick with going into Scorpio season. Those people you need to stick with going into the rest of this year. If you're not able to have a disagreement with somebody and have them like go cool off, whatever else, and y'all not cool afterward, if y'all can't do that, they ain't for you. Not to say they ain't shit, but they ain't for you. They ain't shit. Anyway, nah, but on some real, it's like, the reason why I want to say it like that is like, if you can't disagree with somebody and just give yourself time to cool off, come back, be like, yo, my fault. Like, my bad. Like, even if you're still in disagreement, even if you still don't bang with what they said, just being able to be like, I'm saying like jug, like you could just jug with them just on some like, okay, let me hear your part out. All right, let me hear your part out. And there might be a little like in-betweens in between, but that's not the point. The matter of this with Mercury and Libra retrograde is like, how are you going to maintain yourself, and how are you also willing to like maintain the peace where needed? Because on the flip end of this too, when people are going to disrespect, and you take the effort, follow me, you take the effort to be like, hey man, I'm just trying to meet with you halfway, right? They're like, oh yeah, halfway, right. Or I'm gonna take this as a school project. Everyone's been to some type of school at some point. So like, it's like a high school project, something, right? And obviously in every group project, there's that one person that does most of the work. It's that one person that does like the specialist job, which was usually me. And then there's the other person that does like something else, right? And so the whole idea behind like this project, let's say, is that if you ask somebody to do their part of the project and they only do 20% of what they're supposed to do, they're now sinking the rest of the ship. And Mercury and Libra is almost like, yo, you need to figure out your role in what's going on here. You know what I'm saying? Like figure out your role. And no role is lesser than another role, because every role keeps the cog going. And if some role if you was talking about your body, right, and you were like, hey yo, you talking to a part of your body like, yo, that enzyme ain't shit, this protein, whatever ain't shit type shit, right? If one of them stop working, you're done. Like, yo, you're done. It's like, oh, this one isn't as important. If it stops, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't important to keep it and know just where your role is at. You get what I'm saying? Some people's role in the collective as a spiritual note is to just leave really powerful and positive, like cool comments on certain spiritualist things to boost their energy. And then they also get good favor in return. You have a special role that you know, like within your mind, that you play out, and you don't know how to necessarily explain it. And I feel like astrology is an excellent way to show you how to literally just go about it. You know what I'm saying? Learning my North Node, learning my Midheaven, figuring out all those type of things changed my life entirely. And that's why I'm very adamant about teaching these as well when it comes to either my classes or in my consultations, right? So hold on one second. I've been going off about this Mercury retrograde in Libra. One second. The lesson move forward. Welcome into new light. Facts. Needed to hear this last night was to people pressing your self-value and self-respect. Come with love and a flamethrower. That's a quote. Come with love and a flamethrower. That's facts. But the reason why that is because it's like, you need to figure out who's willing to maintain their peace within your space. Because the people that are no love and life we integrate in our shadow, if I see somebody else love and light me, like on some just pure, like, oh, it's just that, I can't do it. It's disrespectful. It's disrespectful to the collective as a whole. When people are just like love and light, because all those people, not all of those people, let me reframe. A majority of those people that I have interacted and or have observed do this really don't be about any of that good stuff. And it's just an interesting trope that I've personally seen in my findings. That is all. So this, once more, Mercury retrograde in Libra is going to be pushing forward until October 18th, right? So basically, throughout this Libra season, I had to get politically correct real quick. I got that Merc cap. I'm not dealing with them. So when it comes to, first of all, Mars is going to be next to Libra basically throughout this whole season. So I feel like this Libra season, although it's almost like although this Libra season usually brings in more beauty to the collective, it brings in more like companionships, it brings in more relationships, it brings in more everything along the lines of that. But with Mars being here, it's almost like an adamant nature to like make it look sexy. That's what I'm thinking right now. If I gotta slap it, I'm gonna make it look sexy. No, but on the real, like the reason why like that's popping up too is because it's like when retrograde ends, Mars is still gonna be next to this. Mars is still gonna be next to the sun, right? Sidebar: someone said relationships with a frown face, or with with not a frown face, but with the type of face. Now let me put something to y'all that y'all might not understand about the general premise of relationships, right? As a society, I said as a society, and what y'all gonna say? Hold on, there's a large flying object. It's probably a helicopter. It's flying over. It's cool to say that again. It's like, oh wait, hold on. Cool. Y'all might have even heard it, but I did, so I wanted to not get distracted. I did get distracted, but that's cool. Anyway, when it comes to once more, no. I appreciate what you're saying, and I know that you're being like a smartass about it, so to speak, and I get that. I'm a Sag. I completely understood game when you said that, but I want to point that out only for like a specific reason for a lot of people, because we hear the term relationships and we just think straight up dating, or we just think straight up like romantic relationships. Like we have screwed up the word relationship to the point where we only think that it has to be something that's like specifically just like a love scenario. You get what I'm saying? If someone's like, oh yeah, what's your relationship with this? You're like, there's no relationship with that. It's like, do you relate to that thing? Do you talk? Do you have relation to that person? Whether that be thought, whether that be interest, anything along the lines of that. Yeah, well that means that you have a friendship, a relationship, a bond to said person. You get what I'm saying? And I feel like when it comes to the term relationship, a lot of people, because of the way that we've been programmed as a society, think, oh, like you got to go do like a relationship thing. So it's automatically like, wow, well I like this person, well it has to be this. You get what I'm saying? And it becomes like this, like it has to be that, has to be that. Mind you, I'm also a Sag. But what I'm saying is that like on some real shit, it's like it has to be that thing. You get what I'm saying? But what a relationship is that it's that silent, quiet, understood connection between two different beings. I'm just gonna put it like that, right? So it's like, oh shoot, like we relate, right? A lot of people in relationships with people they don't relate to, and that's why we get this. Like, oh, are you in that relationship? They don't get along. It's like, why? Because they can't relate. You have to be in that relate space for all forms of relationships, romantic specifically, friendship as well, and etc. If y'all can't relate on something, and even if you disagree, maybe you just like the relation of being able to disagree and keep it going about your day. Still a relationship. So when I talk about Mercury and Libra being about relationships being rewritten, relationships being reassessed, and relationships being like revamped in certain senses, especially when it comes to like mind, right? Especially when it comes to the intellectual part. Like a lot of people want to speak with people that are going to have a similar mind state or a mindset as them. You get what I'm saying? Simple. Why are we friends? That's a great relationship idea. It's like, why are we friends? Like, well, and mind you, and the person's like, well, you make me feel like blank, or like, well, it feels like blah, is a really good indicator of someone genuinely caring for someone else and having a relationship. If they're like, oh, if you ask someone like, oh, why are we cool? Why are we friends? And they're like, oh, I just think you're cool. Oh, I just think you're really funny. You get what I'm saying? Mind you, Venus is in Scorpio. So if people not really about something, it's going to show so fast. If someone's not willing to like really be down for you, it's going to show so quickly. And during this retrograde, this is what's going to be digging up and uncovering. Mind you, this is going on until October 18th, right? This is basically the end of Libra season. Then after that, October 18th, basically until like around November, this is the real downloading and integration of how we're going to start approaching all our relationships moving forward in the future. Those friends that you had that were like, yeah, we're kind of friends, or we're just whatever else, or those friends that you would be like, hey, why do you like, or like, oh, why do you like Chad? Why do you like Chad the Maverick? Why do you whatever? Like, oh, he's cool. Kind of like his hair. Oh yeah, he's cool. Versus like someone who might actually know and be like, yo, I really like talking to Chad because like he listens when you talk actually, or just something like that's genuine. That's the difference between a relationship where you're relating to someone and are like, oh yeah, I know this person, or oh yeah, I know this, yeah, we kind of know each other from school. Oh yeah, we kind. Nah, who's willing to relate to you? Who are you willing to really like have a disagreement with and still be down for? This is what Mercury and Libra retrograde is going to be showing and popping through. I know a lot of people obviously talk about the technology, blah, 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 X, Y, and Z. I'm not going to front. It took me like an hour and some change to even sit down for this live stream. So like some things are going to take you a little more time. Why? Because you got to reassess why you're doing the things that you're doing. You have to take that moment to be like, like when you let's say like you're doing Mercury does the regular thing that it does. And it's like, oh man, I'm late for this, right? Think to yourself, okay, you're late. Let's say like you're late to your job. I do not recommend this. I'm just framing this as a thought. You're late to your job, right? The bus is late, the car is late, whatever. Your Uber's late, whatever's going on, right? You're late. You're a little bit late. You call the people up or you text the people and you're like, yo, traffic's crazy, my bad, etc. Right? And they're like, nah, it's cool, don't even worry about it. But like, bring that as soon as you get the chance. You get what I'm saying? Why did you get derailed from going directly there? Let's get into that just a little bit. And I'm just using this as an example. Why did you get derailed from going there? Right? For all you know, somebody could have been in there. That doesn't mean you good. You get what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Or like you walk into some place and it's like, oh, that person has a really bad energy and they might throw you off for the rest of the day. Like, you don't know. Sometimes the universe be really putting us through these things. Now, don't get me wrong. Mercury is also a troll. So sometimes Mercury just be trolling. But like, so do we as a society. So it is what it is. But at the end of the day, when it's really getting down to the nitty gritty behind it, what the Mercury in retrograde is really going to be like once more revealing and showing is just like, how thorough are you willing to be in accepting that the universe is also moving just as you are? And that's the real relationship that's happening and really being developed throughout Mercury and Libra. How are you going to be relating to this higher power, this higher universe state, right? Libra is an energy that splits the earthly world and the divine. So oftentimes, I actually refer to the second half of the zodiac in my personal thing as the land of the gods and the monsters. One, because it sounds cool as shit. Two, because the first half of the zodiac is like all about integrating what's on Earth, what's on this planet, what are we here for, how are we doing these. So all the first six zodiac signs hold down, with the Virgo being a special option because Virgo be holding down way more than we give them credit for to keep it a stack. But when it goes to like the first Aries to Virgo portion, these are the people that are really about like the foundation of the world that we live in. Whereas Libra to Pisces is all about what is the world that we coming from and how are we going to develop that here, you know? So Aries to Virgo is ground up, whereas Libra to Pisces is like sky down, if that makes any sense. Hope that works out. But that's the way that I personally see it, and that's why Libra is also the balance, because it's balancing the two in betweens. And this is where you're balancing that act. And you're balancing how are you going to speak between you and your higher self, and how are you going to speak out of your ego or out your ass. And this is like, sometimes you have to speak out your ass. It's life. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's like, I mean, whatever, like, you get what I mean? But it's also, what I'm really trying to get at is that what's true is what's going to prevail in your relationships. What's true is what's going to end up prevailing in those friendships. What's true is going to show you who's worth being your friend, who's worth being in your life and space, and who's worth knowing integral parts about who you are. You've grown as a person. Some people don't have it out for you the same way they might have first had it out for you. Some people might not bang with you the same way that they first initially bang with you. In that process is understanding that, appreciating where they're coming from and what they might have done, and being willing to keep moving forward based off of the lessons that you might have learned from these people. No bad blood, no ill will, unless obviously did some crazy shit, then fuck them. But outside of that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's not whatever, like, let it be what it is. You know? Mind you, talking about Mars and Libra a little bit, Mars and Libra is going to be happening this entire time, and I will be breaking down some more specific topics in between this time frame. But I definitely miss doing the live streams because I just get to like really kick it with y'all, really just spit like what's really happening, and let y'all know what's going on for real. So I'm really excited to be like just back in a space, being in a space where I'm able to just do my readings and services and have all the cleansings and all the healing work that goes behind learning about your chart and the education of astrology and such like that. We'll be having more classes coming up and etc. I'm just gaining my footing again, but please be sure that you sign up for some of the services that I have as well. I will be also doing Hey Hero again. There was some glitches that were going on with Hey Hero prior, but we ended up fixing some of those. So if anyone wants to end up getting a mini reading as well, or any like specific mini question, please be sure to look at the Hey Hero for that. But for anyone who wants to like get like a real consultation that's going to change your life, I did a couple of them in person, or not. Well, I did one in person. I did a couple of them over the Zoom call, and I think we really got to dig into some super dope stuff, and it's really exciting to have people get like that revigoration back in them after hearing about like their chart for real. So hopefully you're the next one that ends up doing that as well. So be sure that you hit that link or that chat, themaverick.com. I don't have a swipe up thing. I'm not that bougie yet or anything. So we're chilling. And that's okay. I'm not tripping. I'm really happy about the people that are here. And I'd rather do it for the people that are here than somebody that like just wants to do it like, oh wow, look at that. Like, so we do it for. Much love to you all. That's my little bit on Mercury and Libra, Mercury Retrograde in Libra. And obviously, like I said, I'm going to talk about it more and other things, but I wanted to give you my quick overview on an energetic basis of what I was feeling, what I was vibing with this Libra season. I will be coming back with more stuff and all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? Much love to you all. Please be sure, like I said, sign up for the services. Let somebody else know about those services as well. Let them know who sent you so I can give you some love too. All that good stuff. You know how that go. But outside of that, I'm finna take a nap or something. Much love to y'all. Appreciate you all for being here. And until next time, y'all stay up, stay blessed. Happy retrograde. Slow it down. Keep it steady. Live your best life. And peace till next time.